Finally, the Batman has come back to theaters this weekend. Matt Reeves, the Batman, is coming out in theaters. Finally, us pundits, critics, and reviewers are allowed to talk about it. I got my non-spoiler review coming for you right after this. It's the Outlaw, John Rocha. How are you? I'm very excited to be getting into the Batman. I saw this thing at a press screening a week ago. I hope some of you saw my just out of the theater reaction, which I posted earlier today from when I went and saw it a few days ago here in San Diego. What an experience. What a time. What an incredible film to savor and enjoy and get into. This is a non-spoiler review for the Batman, so I'm not going to ruin too much about it. Before I get too deep into the non-spoiler review, just want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. And if you're on Twitch, come and follow me there, the Outlaw Nation, all on Twitch. And I'll let you know later how you can be part of the Patreon and have an interactive element to your support of everything we do here on the Outlaw Nation. All right, let's get into this thing, the Batman. All right, right off the bat, I'll tell you this. I have been waiting a long time for this Batman to appear, this kind of Batman to show up in a theatrical sense. And, we've seen it in the comics, this darker, grittier, more noir type vibe and approach to the Batman. He is the Dark Knight. He does troll the streets at night. This is where we most enjoy him, when he's out there in his element. And it was great to see that this film really captured that, really took it to a next level, had a whole new interpretation, a whole new approach in terms of the other, compared to the other theatrical versions of the Batman that we've seen. And it did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. This absolutely has the vibe of Seven. This absolutely has the vibe of The Crow. This has allusions to High and Low, Akira Kurosawa's High and Low. There are allusions to Blade Runner, allusions to so many things here. You'll hear certain noises, you'll hear certain sound cues that'll absolutely make you feel like you're sensing an homage here to some of these great films that have come before and influenced this film for sure. So let me tell you right off the bat, let's get into things I liked. Certainly the acting. Robert Pattinson as the Batman / Bruce Wayne is so damn good here. If you haven't seen Robert Pattinson since Twilight, and a lot of you haven't, you're in for a hell of a treat watching his performance as the Batman. He really sinks into this role, and the way it's written, and we'll get to the script, we'll get to the direction, all that in just a second, but the way it's written really allows Robert Pattinson to bring this pathos, this vulnerability, this angst, this frustration, this unresolved feelings of loss about his parents right to the forefront here. He is navigating a Gotham that he is trying to make a difference in, and he's not sure if he is making a difference. So this is a Batman who's at a crossroads, young in the career, at a crossroads about how effective he's actually being as the Batman. And also the emotional stuff that they're giving him to play. Robert doesn't overplay, doesn't overdo it. It's just bubbling below the surface. Are there moments of explosion of anger or frustration because of certain incidents that are happening? Yes, but overall he keeps it together. You see it's a tight hold, and you see the beginnings of the Batman that we're going to see later on in life, of the Dark Knight that we're going to see later on in life. And I think Robert Pattinson does an excellent job here. Zoe Kravitz bringing it, just like every actress seems to have brought it for Catwoman, aside from maybe Halle Berry. But, that I don't think that was necessarily her fault. That's a terrible film all around. But following the great footsteps of all the great Catwomen that have come before, Michelle Pfeiffer, Anne Hathaway, Eartha Kitt, so many, Lee Merriweather, so many that have come before. She does an excellent job of bringing out the best of Catwoman. Andy Serkis is fantastic as Alfred, although I've got some complaints on that side when we get to the things that I maybe didn't 100% like. Jeffrey Wright, great as Jim Gordon. I mean, he captures the essence of Jim Gordon, the haggard Jim Gordon, the frustrated Jim Gordon, where he's like in that transition period where he is going up against his fellow brothers in blue to try to create a better Gotham City Police Department. And you're sure you're catching him at that moment, but still having that empathy and that care and that warmth for situations as they come up. And this is a brutal Batman. This does not pull punches. Yes, it's PG-13, but there are some pretty violent images, some tough images. So if you have young kids, just warning you right now, it may say PG-13, but there are some tough moments. And Jim Gordon is usually the one walking in on a lot of the tough moments, the murders, and what have you. As I said, it's got Seven vibes. And if you remember those murders in Seven, they were pretty brutal as well. So you'll see some of that in the movie. Paul Dano is the Riddler for the most part. I think he absolutely nails it. The voice works so well, the way they have him all geared up in the mask and the look, and you get to see through his eyes and the heavy breathing. All of that, I think Paul Dano does an excellent job. And in the back and forths with Robert Pattinson, we see Edward Nygma start to come through more and more as we get to those sections of the movie for sure. And so he did an excellent job. But Colin Farrell is the standout. My Lord in heaven, Colin Farrell is fantastic as the Penguin, memorable as the Penguin. He is funny, he is brutal, he is scary, he is all of the, he's incompetent at times. He's all of those things you expect from the Penguin, and in ways that we may have never seen before, or maybe you've only seen in the video game versions of the Penguin before. This is a more modern, updated Penguin. You're not thinking Burgess Meredith, you're not thinking Danny DeVito, you're thinking Colin Farrell creating a whole new interpretation that might be influenced by some of the stuff, as I said, that has been seen of the Penguin in the most recent interpretations of him in the comics and in the video games. Great stuff. And John Turturro, fantastic job as Carmine Falcone. Look, John Turturro is a New York actor, so him bringing the authenticity of New York into this situation, I think, works really, really well. Now, Matt Reeves' direction is stellar here. I mean, Matt Reeves, you know, I've really enjoyed his Planet of the Apes installments. I've enjoyed him as a director sliding into the Batman. It's a lot to ask. And remember, there's all that drama with Ben Affleck, all that drama about transitioning with who's going to direct it, or who's going to be the Batman. You can see very clear that he had a vision for the Batman, and he wanted to cast the right person to play the Batman, and he wanted to tell his story of the Batman. And in the end, you got to respect an artist who fights for his or her vision and then brings it to life so effectively and beautifully as Matt Reeves does here in the movie. You're just engrossed in the world as you're watching it and experiencing it very viscerally. I liked the script, really enjoyed the script here, the back and forth and some of the interactions. And for those of you comic book fans, you will pick certain facts, certain elements from runs that we've seen before in the Batman comic books that will feel very familiar to you, and you will absolutely gravitate to them and wonder what they're trying to do, what groundwork they're laying here to maybe tell another story down the road here. And so they do an excellent job of that. And you spend enough time with most of the characters. You spend enough time having interactions, having believable communications between them, seeing the progressions of their relationship, and certainly the chemistry with Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson here as the Batman and Catwoman is so good. And another thing I liked about the movie is the score. Oh, Michael Giacchino's score, which I've been listening to nonstop this weekend, is just excellent. I mean, excellent. One of the greatest scores ever written for a superhero movie. And you could argue possibly one of the greatest scores ever written. Just completely puts you in the world of this movie, puts you in the world of the Batman, puts you in the world and the vision that Matt Reeves had for this movie, and it is undeniable. The entire soundtrack is available now on YouTube. I encourage you, go and listen to it and have some fun. And one more thing that I really loved is the story overall that they're telling here of the Batman, as I said, at a crossroads, what he's discovering about his life, what he's discovering about his mother and father, as he kind of rips through the layers to discover what is happening here because of what the Riddler is doing. I like the journey he goes on. I like the story they're telling here, the crime element to it, the crime side of it, as well as his desire to kind of figure out who he is now as the Batman and what he's got to do going forward as the Batman to really change things in Gotham City. So now some of the things that I didn't like about the movie, I got to say right off the bat, I don't like the way they used Alfred 100%. I thought Andy Serkis did an excellent job. You can tell there's a vibe to him that has a little more history in his past, a little more of the kind of, some of the stuff we've learned about Alfred in the past, or we've seen Alfred in the more recent incarnations where he's got some kind of special forces training, some kind of military training. We hear about his interactions with a young Bruce Wayne and the Bruce Wayne now, but at times he's not 100% a part of the movie, and I think that kind of bothers me a little bit. I would like to have seen him be a little more a part of the movie, and that frustrated me at times. The other part of this is that I didn't like is that the Riddler is a really huge part of the movie for a majority of the film, and then kind of disappears for a little bit, and then comes back for the finale at the end. And I thought to myself, well, why? It seemed odd. And I get that there are multiple storylines here, but the Riddler seemed to be such a strong presence. and then they took the time out from the Riddler for a little bit, to the point where you started to think about, like, well, where is he? Is he coming back, or what? Have we finished that? What's going on? And then boom, he does come back. So I understand why they did it, because they wanted to focus on the other storyline, but for me, or the other criminal storyline, but for me, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more consistency through the movie of the Riddler being an um ever felt presence, for sure. That's what I would say. And when we get to the length here, let's talk about the length. It is a long movie, but it doesn't feel like a long movie till maybe near the end. It strains a little bit near the end. There's a few extra minutes here, and maybe there was some cuts that could have been made there at the in that section of the movie. And I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it of what I didn't like about the movie. I enjoyed the story, enjoyed the acting, enjoyed the direction, enjoyed the production design, the choreography, the fight choreography, the action sequences. All of that pretty much worked so well for me. And yes, there is a post-credit scene, so to speak, so stay for that. All right, so I give the Batman 4.75 cowboy hats out of 5. 4.75 cowboy hats. I think that's the highest ranking or rating I've given any film that I've reviewed since I've started doing the Outlaw Nation. I'm telling you, it is so close to perfect, this film. It's incredible. It's gonna vie against The Dark Knight for people's affections and people's considerations for the #1 Batman film. No lie, I think it's on par with The Dark Knight. I think it goes toe to toe with The Dark Knight, and maybe for some of you, it might go past The Dark Knight. I'm still processing, I'm still thinking about it, and when I see it a couple more times, I think I'll be more concrete in my feelings on it overall. Well, if you get a chance to go see it this weekend, I want to hear from you. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Let me know what you loved about it, what you maybe didn't like about it. Let me know all of it. I want to hear all of it. This is something we should all share and talk about. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Let me know what you thought of this review in the comments section below as well. Remember to hit a like on this video and share it on your social media, because when you share it on your social media, you're telling your friends and family, hey, the Outlaw Nation is a cool place to come and hang out and enjoy some content here. We got all kinds of content here for you to enjoy. Maybe they'll subscribe to the channel. And speaking of subscribing to the channel, if you haven't done that yet, please make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that bell button so you know when we're dropping all the content that we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Remember to follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And if you want to follow me on Twitch, the Outlaw Nation, all one word there on Twitch. And if you want to support everything we're doing here on the Outlaw Nation channel, like bringing in guests, starting new shows, bringing in heavy hitters to co-host shows with me, head on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/John Rocha. That's how you support everything we got going on, and you get some cool benefits in exchange for your support of the Outlaw Nation as well. All right, take care of yourselves. Be well. Go and enjoy the Batman this weekend, and I'll talk to you next time with another brand new non-spoiler review here from the Outlaw Nation.